Number 6. The function of f and g are defined by fx equal to 2 over x squared minus 1 for x lower than minus 1. Gx x squared plus 1 for x bigger than 0. First question, find the expression for f inverse. Okay, so we have fx 2 x squared minus 1. This is y equals to, for us to find the inverse, then y become x and then x become y. Then we find the formula in y. So y squared minus 1 will be 2 over x, so 2 per x plus 1 square root of this. Then it's bigger. Okay, if we are using this, the limit of x minus 1 means y will be minus 1 minus 2. Y will also be less than minus 1. Okay, so we have a plus minus here. Remember, when you put square to the root, it will become plus minus. So f inverse, which is this y, it cannot be plus, because if plus, then the y will be more than minus 1. Okay, remember, inverse from fx to inverse of x, domain will become range. The range of fx will become the domain of f inverse. So here, the domain of the first fx is less than minus 1. The y is less than minus 1 as well. So in f inverse of x, this will become the range, and this will become the domain. So fx plus minus 2x plus 1 for x equal to minus 1, this one. So from y, it becomes x. Okay, that is the meaning of inverse. Now, because x has to be less than minus 1, then, because the range, it needs to be less than minus 1, so we cannot have plus, because plus will result in more than minus 1. So we take the minus 2 over x plus 1. This will be the answer. So the answer won't be 2, plus minus, no. Because of this limitation, we want the result to be less than minus 1 only. Right? Okay, then point 2. Solve the equation g f x. Oh, okay, this is an easy one. We just put in g is x squared plus 1 equals to 5. So x squared, which is fx, let me just put it down, square plus 1 is 5. Fx is 2 over 1 equals to 5. 4 per minus 2x plus 1 equals to 4. Then we can just cross this out. So x minus 2x plus 1 equals to 0. Sorry, equals to 1. From this one, x4 minus 2x equals to 0. Then we can divide by x squared. So x2 minus 2, 0. X will be plus minus 2. Now for the domain of fx, gx, it has to be more than 0. So we cannot have minus 2. We cannot have this because it has to be more than 0, the x. Thus, x is square root of 2. One answer. Here's the thing, so that you don't not really confused. Fx, it has a domain, right? For example, the domain of fx is more than 0. Now, this is the domain, this is the range, which is the result. So domain is x, okay? And then the range is y, the result. Let's say this is bigger than minus 1. When we inverse it, inverse x, range will become domain of fx. And then the domain will be range. So from here, y we change into x, the domain will become the range. So this is for inverse. Okay. From just now, for example, g of x is not an inverse, right? So this domain, the domain of x, still the same here. So the domain will also be x bigger than 0 because this is not an inverse. Okay. But if it is an inverse, for example, y here x lower than minus 1, then if this is an inverse, okay, inverse of x, then for the x will be less than minus 1 because the range will become domain, y will become x. This is kind of confusing here, but just take it slowly to digest this arrangement.